Nico's pick of the week was the 2024 film, or 2023. I've seen it. It's like either or. I don't fucking know what year
It's because it came out in 2023 at like some film festival or something like that, but then it like actually fucking premiered to the rest of the world in 2024.
Late Night with the Devil. Tell us about it.
Late Night with the Devil follows a 1970s talk show host, Jack Delroy, who decides to air a live broadcast on Halloween night with a series of eerie paranormal guests. As the show unfolds, supernatural occurrences and spiral out of control, turning what was meant to be a thrilling stunt into a terrifying night where reality and horror blur, leading to deadly consequences for the crew and audience alike.
Are you reading a plot description?
Yeah, it sounds like he's reading the fucking IMDb description of it.
No, dude, I'm reading what ChatGPT told me the plot synopsis of it is.
Tell it to fucking tone it down a bit. You sound like a fucking nerd.
Fun fact, so Dr. June in the movie has a degree in parapsychology from Stanford University. That's a real degree that you can actually get from that university.
Damn. They're hacks, yeah. It sounds like.
They are hacks.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Bonus fun fact, this film might actually be our very first Australian film as well, as it was made in Australia, and the director and writer are Australian.
I think Hunt for the Wilder Things should count.
Isn't that New Zealand?
I think it should count.
Okay. Also, Wilder Things.
Oh, Wilder People.
There we go.
Yeah, this was a really solid movie, I thought. Very well made. Feels very authentic to the time period and the medium. The effects the effects, both practical and special, are pretty solid. Even the more ambitious one with the girl's head splitting open and whatever, like, you can tell it's fake, but like it doesn't take you out of it too much.
I heard a lot of people complaining about that scene in particular, but for me, I feel like the fact that it is like so far removed from like what we would have like kind of expected to see from this time period makes it feel much more uncanny, if anything, which really leads to the more supernatural elements of that sort of event happening.
I think this is one of the few horror movies we've seen that like actually got me to feel scared, not just like something jumped out or whatever, but I'm actually like, man, I'm fucking uncomfortable watching this. I don't like this shit at all.
Yeah.
I think a real standout sequence is the skeptic guy doing the hypnosis.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys were probably watching the movie, but if you were looking at me, you when that started happening, you went go like literally go up to the edge of my seat and go like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then the way that ties in where he's like, see, I can just fucking hypnotize you to hallucinate this crazy thing.
Yeah.
Was really fucking neat.
I was a big fan of that skeptic guy. I thought the inclusion of him in the film was great. Like, things that are happening are real, but he's this guy who's like seen it all, and he knows all the tricks, so he's able to like rebuff all these things in a way that leaves room to question the validity of like the possession, and you can kind of understand where he's coming from with like him being like, no, this is obviously just mirrors. Okay, I've seen this before. They have a voodoo doll behind the scenes that they're using right now. And just in general, like the build up that this film has and like the tension and everything, it does a really good job just kind of slowly ramping these things up. You don't have like just this immediate this is so scary, ooh, look at all these spooky things happening on the show. You do just like slowly get introduced to them over the course of the film, where again, it does sort of like leave room to be like, well, okay, how much of this is real? Okay, did that guy actually just vomit up his brains in a very terrible looking black tar shit? Who knows? But yeah, then once we get to the ghost girl, it's like, okay, shit's getting fucking real now.
Anyways, let's get on to the rankings, boys.
Do you have nothing to say about it, Jackson?
No, I've got a decent amount to say.
Okay.
As a person that doesn't particularly like late night TV shows, this movie does suffer from the same issue I have a lot with other horror movies, where they just have a long build up to what's actually really happening. Like basically until we get to the point where the guy starts fucking vomiting up blood, which is like maybe like a little past halfway through the movie. Nothing of like real note has particularly happened. It's all just set up.
I feel like that happens like a quarter of the way in. I don't think it's that far.
There's no way it's a quarter. What the fuck else happened for the rest of the 75% of the movie? It was a quarter.
After that, it was just a lot of him like talking to the skeptic and then doing like the possession stuff and all that.
Yeah, I think this movie does a good job with its acting and its just general set design. I think this is a very well-produced movie. I agree with the special effects stuff. I think it's pretty well done for the most part. Some of it is a little goofy, though. Like, the fucking girl when she was possessed, kind of weird to me.
I feel like the girl looked fine. Really, like, the big stand-up for me was, like, the fucking spewing of the black tar or whatever the fuck. I thought that looked...
That didn't look great either.
Yeah.
But I'm giving it a lot of slack here. I do like the questions the movie draws with the background. You're kind of trying to, like, maybe piece together a little bit of, like, a mystery of what could be happening here or why it's happening. Potentially, maybe even if what you're seeing is real at all, or if it is just like, we are looking at it from the audience perspective for the most part. It is a pretty meta feeling movie. Like, it does kind of just feel like you're watching it rather than like watching a movie, which I appreciate. You could maybe draw the conclusion that we are watching some pre-scripted movie and not actually that. So like it's a movie that's portraying a TV show that's portraying a movie, kind of, which is interesting. I like the concept. I think the cutaway scenes are interesting too for world building purposes. Especially just because it really lets the actors stretch their legs and look a bit more natural and not so stuck up in their role. So yeah, generally I think it's a very well-produced movie. I thought it was engaging for the most part. A little slow start for me personally. But yeah, I like this movie. Tanner, what is the percentage? Give us the timestamp.
Christu does his... So he does have his little mental freak out thing that is a bit of a hint at 20 minutes into the movie, and the vomit is at 30 minutes, so about 1/3.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much right on the dot at 1/3 into the movie.
Anyways, my complaint is wrong. S+.
Yeah, I get... So, as far as, like, the premise behind the film goes, I do have, like, a bit of a nitpick as far as that's concerned. Like, the way they frame this film is that it's, like, this, like, lost broadcast or whatever the fuck of, like, oh, the spooky things that happened this one night on Halloween or whatever. And, like... So the idea behind it is like stitched together with like some behind the scenes like footage that they had or whatever, and like the behind the scenes footage looks much better than like the actual like broadcast or whatever, which seems strange. I don't know why like their camera technology is that starkly different from one another.
But it's in black and white.
Oh, true. And then like on top of that, we also have like the scenes of where Jack is like having his like flashbacks or whatever, or like the scene where he's like interacting with like his dead wife, and like there's like the fucking owls who come out of nowhere and they're like, where you fucked up, Jack, or whatever, you need to sacrifice more shit. And well, okay, where does that come into play in this thing? Then is this like a dramatic reenactment or?
I feel like those are just things for the audience, not actually part of like the the actual this is found footage structure of it. I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted it as like the actual taping of the show that we were watching was that, and then everything else was just stuff that we as like meta viewer are watching. That wasn't stuff that other people are necessarily seeing. They just saw the show. But you guys might disagree with me on that.
I agree that's what they wanted to be the case, but I do agree with Nico that kind of breaks the format that they set up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I think
it's more of a nitpick. I think it is something you can get over, but at the same time, it's like, I wish I would have committed to that sort of formula a little bit more.
I think there
wouldn't be a reason for them actually doing it, the behind the scenes thing, though. Like, well, they'd be recording the fucking that shit, the private conversations behind producers and stuff, so it would have lost a lot of context, and I think it would have devalued the movie a lot more than that interpretation would add.
Also true. That's why I'm saying it's more of just a nitpick.
Conversely to Jackson, I actually think it's very well paced. I was curious because it's an hour and a half movie, and they put Christu throwing up like pretty much dead at a half hour, so I went ahead and checked what's happening at the hour mark. And that's when we're just finishing up the girl and June doing their little routine. So it perhaps is formulaic in the sort of pacing, because it's like, oh, you should have the big exciting event happen at 1/3 and 2/3 through the movie. But I think it makes it really work very well. And I was pretty thoroughly engaged the whole time, even when we were doing like the boring setup stuff.
Yeah, same here.
I like the guy that's trying to fake stuff. I think he's a funny character. I like that you can see him trying to prove shit all the time, even when he's not an actual piece of the plot in the moment. If all it feels like a very alive, well-produced.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just in general, we've talked about this before, but I definitely do love films where, like, when the credits roll, the movie still isn't, like, metaphorically done or whatever, because, like, it still leaves things for you to think about after the film has finished up, which this film absolutely does. It leaves you asking a lot of questions. We definitely had a decent bit of a conversation after the movie ended.
That we did. I forgot everything I said in that conversation.
But I suppose if that's all we have to say about it for now, then, guys, what are we rating this thing?
Dylan rated it an S.
Wow, that's probably a bit higher than I would have gone. I'm going A.
I also gave it an A.
Holy shit, guys, I also gave it an A.
Wow.
Tanner, quit copying us, please, I beg. And that landed at an S, not S+, A+ overall.
Pretty solid.